Today I'm seeing what it was like to be a professional footballer back in the 1930s. Now I've tested individual products from the 1930s before, and there's a big difference. But what if I tested everything together?
I'm talking boots, ball, pitch, kit and goalie gloves to get the full experience and see what it was really like to play in the 1930s. And to see how much performance was really affected, I'll also be doing the same test in the most modern football kit I could buy. First up, let's take a look at the pitch. So when testing the modern kit, I'll be using a 4G pitch that is completely flat, so it shouldn't cause me any problems. Whereas when testing the 1930s kit, I'll be playing on a bobbly pitch more akin to what they'd used back in the day, making controlling the ball more difficult. When it comes to the boots, we have the 2022 Mercurials versus a pair of old leather high tops. The ball we have is the 2022 Premier League football versus an old heavy leather ball. For goalie gloves, we've got the new Adidas Predator gloves versus these pretty interesting looking things. And finally, we have the modern lightweight tight fitted kit versus a baggy heavier old kit.
These 1930s boots, as you can see, they're a thing of beauty. Just getting them on's the hard part. There we go. I think the boots make the biggest difference out of everything because they're just so much different. The ball obviously is still round, it's still fairly similar, but when it comes to these, they're just a completely different design.
And here are the full kits in all their glory. First up, we're going to do a weight test.
For this, I'm going to weigh the whole kits together.
Now let's take a look at the results. 1930s kit weighed 1,850 grams and the 2022 kit weighed 1,030 grams. That's almost double the weight. First point goes to the modern kit.
Right, so full kit on first test is comfort. Boots are one of the worst things I've ever worn. These get a 1 out of 10 for comfort. The gloves are actually pretty nice, so these are up there, and the rest of the kit's okay. But overall, for comfort, I'm giving the 1930s kit a 5 out of 10. So comfort, the rating for the 2022 kit. Honestly, I can't pick a fault in it. The gloves are so nice, super comfortable. Kit's feeling really good. The boots are snug. It's got to be a 9 out of 10. Right, so the next test is the sprint test, and with these boots on, I think this is going to make a big difference. Also the pitch as well. So yeah, let's see. I've got a rebel soul. I've got a rebel soul. Honestly, that was just like clippity clop all over the place. These things are a nightmare. I'm excited to see the results on this one though. Right, sprint test. That felt like 100 times quicker. There's no way that doesn't completely obliterate the 1930 score.
So as expected, the modern kit smashed it, but look how much quicker the new boots and pitch allowed me to get off the mark. Now, baby, just get down. Right, next up we've got the shot power test, and with these beauties, I reckon we can go pretty hard. For this test, I'll be having 3 shots with each kit and taking the highest score. Oh God, no. That was 50 miles per hour, so not ideal. Oh, 62, you know what, that's not bad. But for this final one, I've got a trick up my sleeve. Steel toe caps. Oh, God, that hurt my tongue. So with the use of the big toe caps on these 1930s boots, my highest score was 65. These aren't as bad as I thought for power. I'm not actually sure how much difference this will make because the 1930s boots and ball did pretty good, so 69, that's already beat the 1930s score by about 5 miles per hour. I think that's a clear win for the modern stuff. The modern kit won the power shot challenge, but only just by 4 miles per hour, which is actually a lot closer than I would have expected. Right, so next up we've got the dribbling test. Dribble around these cones, fastest time wins. 3, 2, 1. Oh, man. Dribbling in these boots and on this pitch was honestly so difficult trying to get traction on the ground when turning, and I think my final time reflected that. I've got the turning circle of a cruise ship in these. As expected, the boots and the pitch were the main factors stopping me from going quicker on this test. Let's see how the modern kit compared. For me, on this one, it was just being able to turn a lot quicker. I can actually roll the ball with my feet, which I couldn't really do with the 1930s boots, ball and pitch. Right, so next up I'm going to go in goal. We've got the gloves on. If you take a look at these, they've just got loads of little rubber grips on. Realistically, in the 1930s, they probably would just go bare hand, but I wanted to have a pair of gloves, probably the first pair of goalie gloves, just to give some competition there. I'll be facing 20 shots in the 1930s and 20 shots in 2022. All right, gloves on. One final thing. After After channeling my inner Lev Yashin, it was time to see what I can do.
Oh, I'm blaming that on the pitch, man. That's where the pitch comes into play. Oh. Should be catching them. And that stings a bit, you know. That heavy ball and these gloves. Oh! Man, I need to take this cap off. I feel like it's a disrespect to Lev Yashin, man. Performing like that and wearing this cap. Well, that's goalkeeping for you.
In the 1930s kit, I conceded 10 goals.
Right, honestly, I just feel so much better in these gloves than the 1930s ones. Thing is, I've also got to take into account as well that obviously the strikers are going to be better. Save. That definitely felt so much better actually.
So the results for the goalkeeping test, I conceded 10 goals in the 1930s and 6 in 2022. Although it's something to think about that the strikers would also be better in 2022. There is just a lot more unpredictability in the 1930s with the pitch, ball and gloves. For the first touch test, I'd have 5 balls pinged into me. How many can I control inside the blue box?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Wow. Oh, there it is.
That's 3 out of 5 for the 1930s. And 4 out of 5 for the 2022 kit, and another point on the board.
Right, I'm really interested to know how curve works with these boots and this ball from the 1930s. I don't think it's going to go well.
For this test, I'll be having 5 shots from behind the goal and seeing how many I can get in.
Oh. Ah. Oh. That was awful.
That's 1 out of 5 in the 1930s and 2 out of 5 in 2022, and these scores are getting pretty one-sided now. For the skills test, up first I tried freestyle. And in this kit I was able to do an around the world, which I'm not even sure was invented back in the 1930s. But I wasn't able to get past the double around the world.
When you call it double. Ah, nah, that's the most freestyle I can do in these boots.
Whereas in the modern kit, I could do all these tricks easily and then some. When it came to ground skills, the difference wasn't quite as much. I was able to do skills like McGiddy spin, roulette and flip flap, but they just weren't as fast and smooth as when I was doing them in the modern kit. The final test is the big one, it's shooting. To test this, I'll be having 25 shots in the 1930s and 25 shots in 2022 and seeing how many goals I'll score.
Go. Oh, no. Oh. Oh.
Now this performance may look terrible now, but honestly, I've produced some worldies in this section.
Oh. Oh. Mate, that wasn't too bad, you know. They're not, the boots aren't horrendous. Like. Oh. Oh. Oh, there it is. Come on then. Are you joking? I would have gone pro in the 1930s. Oh, I've turned into prime Stanley Matthews. Oh. Right, last shot, I'm going to go for a knuckleball, boys. Can you knuckle with 1930s gear? No, that's a no. That's just hard no. You know what? This wasn't actually terrible.
That was 6 goals in the 1930s. Let's see how this compares to modern day.
Mate, so much better. Honestly, I just feel like with this stuff on, I'm just so much more confident.
So I think it's pretty clear from this video that we're very lucky to be playing football now rather than 100 years ago.